Good morning, everyone. I'm Sahar, and you're watching Rethink with Sahar. This is a place where we rethink ideas, we rethink thoughts, and we try to look at everything in new light, in from a new angle. So today we have with us Martha. Martha, you have written, yes, you can raise happy, responsible children, right? So,
Yes.
Martha Burich, what made you write this book? What is the idea behind this book?
I love that question, Sahar, and thank you so much for having me here. Why did I write the book? Because when my son was 4, he was so spoiled, we didn't know what we were going to do. My husband and I were just absolutely, the child was running the household. We were afraid to say no. We thought that to be good parents, you always tell your child yes. We were wrong. Oh my goodness. Oh gosh. The what a mess. What an absolute mess. And I thought, you know
Yeah,
what? Things have got to change. Things have got to change. So years ago,
exactly.
we're going back years. I
Hmm.
I got the information I needed to help my son learn to take no for an answer. And I'll tell you, when your child is used to you giving in all the time, it's a struggle to get them to finally, well, to get them to accept no for an answer. But I'll tell you, Sahar, people who don't take no for an answer become adults who are very around, become unhappy
Yeah.
people, become self
Hmm.
centered, undisciplined. We have got to learn to accept no for an answer from ourselves and from other people. You know, part of the problems that we're having at schools now is children are not being taught no means no. And parents are
Yes.
just giving in too much. So, yes, we had to learn that. And, you know, I took parenting lessons. It was 8 weeks, 2 hours a week. And you know what was really interesting, Sahar, is that, you know, and there were parents of all different ages. Anthony was 4, but we had some parents of teenagers. One gal, I think her daughter was 5 or 6. And every week we would come back, they would have us work on one thing every week, just one thing. And every week
Hmm.
we would come back and report. And every week I would come back and say, wow, that really worked. And you know why it really worked for me is because in the beginning it wouldn't work because Anthony would resist. But they, you know, they told me, look, if you do what we say, it works. But I said to myself, they have not asked me to hit my child. They have not asked me to be mean to my child. They are teaching me things. So as long as I'm not hurting or being mean to my child, I'm going to do what they tell me to do. And I
That's
did.
right.
I did what they told me to do. And it worked like a charm. It worked like a charm. And within 8 weeks, he was a new child. And you know, he's an adult
Beautiful.
now. He's 40, is in his 40s now, and he's responsible, has his own job, has his own work, his own business. And you know, he has 2 dogs. He cares for his animals. He's an animal lover. Anthony, one time we saw a turtle crossing the road, and Anthony said, "Mom, we can't let this turtle be in the road. He'll get run over." We stopped and picked up the turtle and put him on the other side of the road where he was going. And you know, that's what you want. You want people who care about other things, living things, people who are generous and caring. And that's what happened by just learning a few things, all of which I put in my book, Sahar. Everything I learned is in
Beautiful.
this little, 60-page book. Yes, you can raise happy, responsible children. And there's no theory in
Mhm.
this book. It's all practical application.
Beautiful. And you know, the way you said that we need to learn to take no as an answer. The thing is that there is a lot of stress upon that we should learn to say the no,
Hmm.
but
That's right.
we have to
We have to
accept
learn how
the
to
no
say it.
as well. We have to accept the
Right.
no as well. No means a no. Very few people like to listen to that no, and without feeling demeaned. And
Hmm.
it's
Hmm.
very important. You touched a very important point. Martha, how was your childhood and how did your childhood affect this book? Because you have written somewhere that you were an unwanted child. How has that affected you as a person? How it affected your development as a child and your personality as an adult.
Boy, that is so fitting. People don't realize how their backgrounds affect their future, but the past doesn't have to equal the future. And yes, I was an unwanted child, not unloved. I was unwanted because my parents had two other children. Not see, I had an older brother when I was born. He was about two, and then
Mhm.
another brother. He was seven. But by the time I came along, my father had been a POW in World War II, prisoner of war. And when he came
Uh,
home, he was a very changed person. Now, none of us, all of us, it was after the war that all of us were born. But anyway, he became a very heavy gambler and drinker.
oh.
So by the
Mm.
time my mother realized that I was on the way, there was no food, there was no money. My dad would gamble and drink it all away. And
Oh.
so I was unwanted because she was like, how am I going to feed this child? I can barely feed the other two.
Mm.
I have this husband who's
Mhm.
pretty useless. And
Mm.
once I was born, and my mother just you said stress. She had a lot of stress, of course, but she loved me as best she
Mhm.
could. She was a good mother, a good mother. But I always knew, Sahar, that I was a burden.
Mhm.
For my mother telling me that I was a very good baby, and I think I was a good baby
Mhm.
because I sensed that she was overwhelmed, and that
Yes.
I needed to kind of just stay out of the way. So
Uh,
anyway, but
well.
yes, that did affect me a lot as I was growing up because I would always perceive everything negatively in light of I'm a burden, I'm too much trouble. Oh, I shouldn't ask for that. Oh, this is I'm not, I don't belong. Everyone in my family had lots of friends. My two brothers were very social. My mother was the president of Parents Without Partners years later, and they
Uh-huh.
always very social. She used to have parties all the time when I was small, and they were very social. But me, I would have like one friend at a time, so I always thought that I was not likable.
Hmm. And that must have affected your confidence, your ability to do what you want to do, and in, I think, not a very positive manner.
Oh, definitely, I had to really, really push myself to go to college to do the things I needed um, to do to get through things. But I did.
Mhm.
I pushed myself because you know what, my
Mhm.
mother would always say, "If it is to be, it's up to me." And I was kicked out of two colleges,
Oh, yeah. You told me.
and
Yes.
yeah, I got kicked out of two colleges. And one day I was crying to my mother. I think I was 20 or something, and I was
Mhm.
crying to my mother about it. And what am I going to do? And she said, "You're going to march right back to that college and ask them to let you back in," which I did.
Mhm.
And the dean said, "Yes, we'll let you back in, but you better straighten up. You got 6 months. You better not make anything less than a C, and I don't want to see you behaving like you used to." And I did. That was my wake up call. So you know what? Your past does not have to equal your future. No matter what happened yesterday, does not. I'm gonna start crying. It doesn't mean that tomorrow will be the same. So I
That's
really
true.
really want parents and people to know that. I know people who used to live in a dumpster who are now living very productive lives, have their own homes and families, and and are respected in the community. So wherever you're at, you can come back. You just have to do the right thing today.
Exactly. They say every saint has a past and every thief has a future. So your past and future need not uh, be the same. If you're one thing, you're bad, then you have to be bad, 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 bad. No, you can't change. Yes, there has to be a wake up call. There
Hmm.
is always a wake up call, as you said, but
Hmm.
you have to take it. You have
Right.
to be able to. So what is your advice to parents, because you had a tough childhood? Not tough maybe because it was from outside, you were not loved. You said you were very much loved, but you had did not have that kind of confidence in yourself that you could ask for something, or you could assert yourself as uh, at a level where you could tell that this is what I want and this is what I do not want. So, with that, what was it like? What would you like to tell other parents what you experienced in your life? So, somebody told you that you were not wanted. That's why you know you were not wanted, right? So, should such things be discussed with children?
No, no, no. Do not discuss such things
Exactly.
with children. That's too much for them. They need to, and
Yeah,
and here's part of the problem. A lot of parents think that their job is to correct their child. So if the child does something wrong, they say something. If the child's doing something right, they don't say a word. And this is what happened to
exactly.
me. My mother, whenever I did something right, that was just expected. But when I made a mistake, she would say something. In her attempt to be a good parent, she thought, and to make me a good person. But it had the opposite effect, and it'll have the opposite effect on your children too. When you correct children, you have to be very, very purposeful about it, and you have to do it in a way that the child actually gains knowledge and encouragement from it and not discouragement. And let me give you an
Exactly.
example.
Mm-hmm.
My son was 10, and he went out with his friend and the friend's father, and they
Mm-hmm.
went shopping. Well, the friend's father bought his friend a gift, but he didn't buy anything for Anthony. So Anthony comes home and,
Uh-huh.
oh, he's mad, and he's telling Mom, you won't believe this. We went shopping and he bought, Billy a gift, but he didn't get anything from me. I can't. I'm really that's not right. Blah blah. And he was going on and on. Well, me being a good parent, shut him down and said, well, you're not his son. He's not your father. Why would you expect him to buy you anything? Ooh,
Yes.
that was the parental response, right? That wasn't what was needed.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and he said, you don't understand. I'm never talking to you again. And I realized what my mistake had been. So I said, oh, Anthony, I really apologize. You're right. I didn't listen. Please tell me again. I promise I'll just listen. And he did. He said the
Uh-huh.
whole thing again. I'm so mad. I can't believe it. Blah, blah, blah. And I said, wow, sounds like your feelings were hurt and that you wanted a
Mhm.
gift too. And he said, yes. And then he said, okay, I'm going to play. He just needed to listen and acknowledge. He didn't corrected, didn't need to be told his feelings were wrong. He needed someone to listen. And so many people are like that. They just need us.
Give me a second, please. Give me a second. I'm sorry. I have to hold on.
The book is endorsed by Jack Canfield, author of Chicken Soup for the Soul and the Success Principles. So the book comes very highly recommended.
Hi, I'm sorry. Uh, so, yeah, you were talking about your book was recommended.
Hmm. Yes,
So, okay, so let's hear more about that.
the book, okay, is recommended
Yeah.
by Jack Canfield, and he's the author of Chicken Soup for the Soul
Oh,
book
beautiful.
and also the Success Principles. So Jack has been teaching self-esteem and how to live your best life for decades. And when he saw
Hmm.
my, he said, Martha, in fact, what he says about it right here? He says, this book has the potential to transform the lives of families worldwide. A must read for anyone
Beautiful.
committed to fostering a nurturing environment where both children and parents can truly thrive. And yes, and I believe so much in this book. And I also wrote a workbook, the Mistaken
Oh,
Behavior Goal workbook, because children, when they misbehave consistently, their behavior has a goal. They either want attention,
exactly.
they want power, revenge, or they have a display of inadequacy. They're afraid to do anything. They're afraid to make a mistake. So when you learn what your
Hmm.
child's goal is, and you learn the child's goal by how you feel when the child misbehaves, Then once you get that figured out, then you can start a plan of how to change the child's behavior. So this really, really works, and I'll put a link to that later on in the show
Uh,
notes or whatever. But
sure,
also the book,
definitely.
the book tells you just what to do exactly. And here are some of the chapters, Sahar. And I think this is so important. Oh, the first thing I want to say, the first quote in the book is, if I were to search for the central core of difficulties in people, as I have come to know them, it is that in a great majority of cases, they despise themselves, regarding themselves as worthless and unlovable. And yes, many of us grow up like that. We don't realize that we have so many skills and talents that people need. We feel unlovable and worthless. Anyway, what are the contents?
Exactly.
I talk about how to build self esteem, discipline.
Mm-hmm.
How do you discipline a child? Creating positive relationships with your children, raising smart
Mm-hmm.
children, what to do at meal times, what to do at the grocery
Mm-hmm.
store,
Wow.
what to do when you're traveling. What do you do if the kid takes his seatbelt off and you're driving down the road? Creating
Wow.
safe, how to strengthen your marriage, and praise and encouragement. So I
So
cover everything,
practically,
only 60 pages,
yes.
but it's all meat, no theory, all boom, 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 do this, do this, do this.
Boom, boom, boom. Do this, do that. That's a practical guide and not
Right?
theorizing. You, this will lead to this, this will lead to, no, this is it. And this is the solution. So, what at the back of every solution that you have, what is the theory that is being put into action? What is that
Well,
belief system?
that's really good. The three L's of parenting is what I work off of all the time. One, love
Mhm.
them enough to say no. That is an
Hmm.
absolute. And before you say no,
Beautiful.
you know what? If your child asks you something, hey, can I go do whatever? You need to think to yourself, okay, if I say yes, am I okay with that? And if I say no, if he pushes and pushes, am I going to keep it no, or am I going to change, or am I going to get frustrated and change it? So don't say
Most
no
they do
unless you're
change.
going to
Yeah.
back it up, no matter what the child does. And then you don't have
Hmm.
to say yes or no because the child asks a question. Can I go to so and so's house? Well, you know what, honey? Let me think about that. I want to spend the night at so and so's house, or we're going to have a party, or whatever. And you know what, honey? I can't give you an answer right now. I'll give you an answer
Mhm.
tonight. I'll give you an answer tomorrow. You don't always have to say yes or no right away. And if the child
Yes.
pesters you, now I just got this. Somebody just told me this. If the child pesters, you say, I'm going to give you an answer tomorrow. And the child says, well, I want to know now. I want to know now. You know what? If you don't give me an opportunity to think it over, the answer will be no automatically. So if you pester me, the answer is no right off the bat. But if you give me the
Yes.
time to let me think it through, it might be yes. You don't know, do you? I have to think about it.
Exactly. That's
So
right.
before you say no, remember, am I going to back this up? Am I going to stick with it no matter what the child does? Because some
Yes.
children are very persistent. They'll scream, they'll cry, they'll do who knows what, and you can't take it anymore. And they've heard you say it a gazillion times. All right, here, go ahead.
Yeah. Do it.
Stop,
Yeah.
stop bothering me. Stop yelling. Stop screaming. Stop having a tantrum. Ha ha.
And
Guess
that
what?
becomes,
Yeah, the child, in the back of their little mind, they don't realize it sometimes. In the back of their little mind, it's like, ha ha, I win. But
I
then
got it. Yeah.
farther back, and there is, uh-oh, I'm in charge. I'm scared because I don't know what to
Yes.
do. But they don't realize that that's a very fearful home. When the child runs a home, it's a fearful home. The child
That's
is afraid.
right. Because they do not know much. In fact, they
Exactly.
do not know. They're
They,
learning.
exactly.
Yeah.
And, so it's love them enough to say no.
Mm.
Second, lead by example. Don't drink. Don't smoke. Please get off your screen. Stop playing.
You're
Stop
going
sitting in
to
front of
learn,
the television so long.
going
Stop.
to do what
Lead by
you're doing.
example. Be an example. Stop.
Yeah.
Stop talking. Stop talking. And do. Now, let's say the child's running in the house, and you're sitting there. Stop running. What? Get up. Get up. You don't have to be mean about it. Get up. Get in front of the child. Honey, we don't run in the house. If you want to run, go outside. In the house we walk.
Yeah.
Now, if you run
Yes.
again, you're going outside. Do you understand? Yes. Good. So the kid will run again. He goes, I see you decided to go outside. take and then take them by the hand and go, oh, no, 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 Mama, I'll be good. I'll be good. I know you're good, sweetheart, but you're going outside for 5 minutes. Because
That's
you have to back
right.
what you said. You have to back up what you said. And the child's not trying to
Exactly.
be bad. It's just that's just how we are. You go to the grocery store, Sahara. Grocery store is a candy. It's Disneyland for children. I love the grocery store. So you tell the child, look, you have to be able to see me at all times, and I have to see you. If
Yes.
that happens where you look and you don't see me, or I look and I don't see you, you're going to sit in the cart. Do you understand? Yes. Now, are you willing to do that when it comes? And the child will say yes. If they say no, you have to have more of a conversation. But if they continue to say
Hmm.
no, say, you know what, you can't go to the grocery store, or we're not going to come to agreement with this. I just want you to know, if I can't see you, you're going in the cart, whether you agree or not. So you go to the grocery store. The kid runs off, and you go to him, and you don't be mean about it. You go, I see you decided to sit in the cart. Put him in the
Ah,
cart, and then
yeah.
immediately, where's the bananas? Where's your favorite this? Where's this? Where's that? Keep them busy. Keep them busy. Hold these. Put something in their hands. Hold these. How much does this cost? What's this? Have a list. If a little kid can check it off, had anything to keep
Mhm.
the child busy. And then when
Put
you're
them
done,
to work.
put them to
Yeah.
work. Let them put the food on the conveyor belt. Let them give the money or the credit card to the person.
Let
They
them feel
want
important.
they
Yeah.
want to be helpful. And when we keep children from doing things, we rob them of the feeling of accomplishment. Children who are prevented from cleaning, oh, well, I had to do all the cleaning. I'm not going to let my daughter do it. Well, then she doesn't learn to do things. Or, oh, cleaning is
Exactly.
please. They should all have their own little child-sized broom by the time they're two, and they
Yeah.
should be, a one-year-old
Beautiful.
a 1-year-old can sort socks. They can't put them together, but they can put the blue one with the blue one. Put the socks that
Yeah.
look alike together. They can put the t-shirts over here and the towels. They can do that. Let them help you
At
sort the
least
laundry.
something. Yeah. That
Pour
gives a
put
feeling of
the stuff.
accomplishment.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Pour the flour in the bowl or whatever. It'll take longer, but you know what? It will it will
It
instill in
will
that
give
child
them. Yeah.
self-esteem, ability, the whole idea that, you know what, I can do that.
I can do that. And beginning from small things, they'll be able
It's
to accomplish bigger things in their life. That's
exactly.
beautiful. That's beautiful. And Martha, you have a coaching program
I
too?
have a 4-week parenting class, just like what I had, but it's 4 weeks, and we're going to work on one thing every week, 1 hour a week on Zoom, and we're going to turn your child around in 4 weeks. And then you can always take the class again, and we can work on other things. But 4 weeks, boom, 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 we are going to, work on the worst behavior of your child, and we're going to get that under control so that you can start to having a happy home. You know what? A happy home is one where everyone contributes. That's why farmers, children who grow up on farms where they have, 3-year-olds are feeding the chickens. Those children are the happiest, most accomplished kids because they know how to do things, that a lot of other children have no idea. And they understand living things need care and concern, that every living thing is respected. We shouldn't just be stepping on bugs and things. All bugs have purpose too. But it's the children that live on farms that understand that, and so their children must have jobs. Put a chore chart with pictures. Go on Etsy and get that. Take pictures. Here's your job every day, and check marks. You can laminate. Have little pads where they just push the button. This job's done. That job's done. Your school age child needs to have a list on their wall. Bake bed, get dressed, brush teeth, whatever it is, in whatever order, and help clean up the dishes. Help this, and then when they get home from school, and also I don't recommend a child sit down and do homework the minute they get home from school. That's like coming
Oh
home from work.
no. That's
Let
from school back to school at home.
That's not right. Yeah, let them go out and play and do some stuff, and let them help you cook, and don't be a moms, do not be a short order cook. This is what we're eating for
Mm,
dinner. If you don't like it, you can have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but I'm not cooking anything different, and that's life. Because that is
exactly.
life. And parents
That is
are
life. These days, there was such a trend that every child has their own thing cooked and their own dish cooked for them. And that's so much of work for the mother. And
that's
nobody's helping her either. So,
that, and
and then
that's so
what they're
little respect.
learning, yeah, what they're
Exactly.
learning is they can get anything that they want, uh,
Hmm.
different from others. I am
Hmm.
different from others. The sense of community is missing. So
You know,
that is,
don't make them eat the food if they don't like it, but also don't, just say, here's your
let them go
alternative.
hungry.
Yeah, let them
Yeah.
go hungry or have an alternative that doesn't take you time. Okay, if you're not going to eat what I provided, there's peanut butter and jelly, there's bread and butter, here's a banana,
Mm,
whatever. But you're not going to have
whatever.
dessert. You're not going to have, this is what's available. Here's what you get if you don't eat what I made available, and you can eat again tomorrow morning or when it's whatever, snack time, whatever, however you do it. But don't indulge the child. Stop making 2 and 3 meals. You know, okay, I watched a movie. All right, and
Mm.
the mother was cooking for the teenagers breakfast. She makes the breakfast, and then they're all sitting talking. And mom finally sat down to start eating. And the son says, "Oh, mom, you forgot the orange juice." Well, guess what,
Oh,
mom should have said, "Well, honey, it's right in the refrigerator. Get up and get it." No, you know what this mom did? She got up and got the fridge, got the orange juice, got a glass. Please, 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 please. You know
no
what?
way.
Before Anthony was even born, my son was even born, a man who had it,
Hmm.
he said, I'm going to give you a piece of advice and I hope you listen. He said, never do for a child what they can do for themselves. Good advice.
Exactly. Otherwise, they won't do it for themselves. What they
Exactly.
can. Yeah. That's so true. Hmm. So, uh, you have worked with uh, graduates and undergraduate students as a professor. Then you have worked with high schoolers and maybe middle graders or
Yes.
middle
Yes.
schoolers. So, what is the difference between how they perceive the world and how older kids perceive the world and how the younger kids perceive the world? And then with your experience as a volunteer at jail, what
Hmm.
goes wrong
Well, that's a
that they
really
end up there?
good question. You know what? So here's what I found out. Everybody's a big baby. Everybody
Yeah.
is a big kid. It doesn't matter the age, whether they're little, whether they're teenagers, whether they're
Mm-hmm.
everybody is a big kid. And the same stuff that I put in this book to handle little
Mm-hmm.
ones, ages 2 to 16, worked at the jail, worked at the college,
Oh.
worked with 60 and 70-year-olds. You know, the what's the bottom line? That is that you have to have enough respect for yourself that you don't let people tramp on you, but also you have to have enough respect for other people that I'm no better than they are, no matter what they're going through, and that I have
Yeah.
information for them, and I want to help them. I want to be there for them. So the way that you relate with people is you see the good in them. I always look for the good in people. And at the jail, I had some women who were not very nice people, not very nice people. But I
Mm.
remember, in fact, that gal, she just kept talking in the class and would go on. And she was very negative and talked about other people. And, the next week when I came back, I thought, how am I going to handle this girl? And I saw her and I
Mm.
said, you're so bright and you really notice everything. You're very attentive.
Mm.
I made sure to say all good things about her. And because most
Mm.
people, just like, get out of here, kid, you bug me, or get out of here, woman, you bug me. And I thought, no, that's not how I'm going to approach this, because she did have so many good qualities. But her thing was she was so desperate for power and attention,
Mm.
didn't know how to get it in a positive way.
Wow. That's really, really an amazing observation, amazing thing that you did, and the observation that everyone is a big child. You know, it's like I myself have experienced when I was a little child. I'm not very like I'm not in my 80s and I'm not a 10-year-old, right? So I'm somewhere in between. But uh, when I was a 10-year-old, I felt so young and so vulnerable.
Mm,
Similarly, when I got into my 20s and got married, and then the other things in life started, the same thing, that vulnerable self was always there, which I was protecting. And that
mm,
little baby of mine, I was holding it tight to myself. So it's not only me, it's everyone. Everyone has that vulnerable self, and that
mhm.
baby within that needs to be taken care of. I think that
That's
is a
right.
very, very, very important thing, whether we are adults, whether we are kids, or we are dealing with anyone at
Mhm,
any age, of any age. And so I think that is a very beautiful observation that you made. Everyone is a big baby. And one final word for parents and uh, of children and of big babies, take caretakers of big babies. So what would you like to say?
Do the right thing today. I don't know what you did yesterday, and we're not going to worry about tomorrow.
Mhm.
You just take your life one day at a time, no matter if you're overwhelmed, stressed. You just do what you can do today. And you know what? Tomorrow's going to take care of itself. But you do what you can do today.
Exactly. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you so much for being with us today, Martha. And good luck for your book and for everything that you're doing and the good work that you're doing. And thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening, day, guys. I don't know why I'm in evening at this moment. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful week ahead. And we'll meet again next week, same time and same place on YouTube, on Facebook, and wherever you can find me. All right. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thanks, Sahar.
Thank you.